We do not forget.
Test, test. Alright, alright. So you should be able to hear me now. Sorry about the technical difficulties. A few days ago in Elkhart, Indiana, James Jacobson was arrested. And as you can see here, if you go to mycase.in.gov, you can follow along. These are basically the updates of what's going on with this case. Now, the other day, um, the only case that was listed here was this second case here, MC62. Alright, when you go into this case here, you will see that as you scroll down, the probable cause affidavit was filed, and that is right here. Well, as I said, the other charge or the other case hadn't been filed yet, and as it says here, no charges applicable right here for this. But so when you read the probable cause affidavit with that information available, all you basically come up with are two different scenarios. One either being that they knowingly knew that he was not publicly intoxicated and knew that he was not causing a disturbance, yet they still filed this affidavit just to get him locked up for 15 days. In the state of Indiana, if you're on probation, probation can file a probation revocation on you just for the simple act of probation revocation based on the simple act of having a new charge filed against you. Not that it was a valid charge or not that you were convicted on that charge, simply for the act of having a charge filed against you is a violation of probation, and therefore they can file for the revocation. So with this with that in mind, as we look down here on the probable cause affidavit, you'll see here that on or about the third day of February 2019, the above named individual committed the offenses of public intox, which is a B misdemeanor. They assigned him a $10,000 bond, or 10% to a bondsman, and then they set it for a hearing on the 11th, initial hearing on the 11th day of January at 8:30 a.m. in Elkhart. As you can see here, they attached here, probation request a 15-day hold under this cause number. So under this cause number right here, they wanted him to sit there for at least 15 days. With that information only available, by the way, this is the IC code right here that he was charged under. Okay. Um, let's see. It says here he's out on 100. Out on bond for refusing to leave an emergency area and was disruptive at Elkhart PD and on probation and continues to use alcohol and disrupts law enforcement while engaged in their official duties. Okay. Here's the affidavit in support of the warrantless arrest. We'll get into that in a minute. However, um, with the information that was available, one would assume that either they dropped the public intox charge, because there was some question of whether they dropped the public intox charge and charged him with disorderly, or if they dropped everything, what was done. So basically, in regard to this, one would assume that they dropped the public intox charge and they arrested him on the sole contention that they were going to just arrest him for something, hold him for 15 days on the probation hold, and just say, you know what? Fuck you, dude. You want to come down here, fuck with us, ask us frivolous questions, be fucking stupid, then we're going to just fucking hold you for 15 days. And that's sort of what it looked like. Now, they did file the second case to assign in another cause number in a different court. Okay, and we'll get to that in a minute. But as we take a look at the probable cause affidavit, the affidavit in support of warrantless arrest. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and read this for you guys. Comes now Sergeant Mayer, 413, and after being first duly sworn upon his oath, disposes and says that he is a law enforcement officer in Elkhart County, Indiana, and the above named individual was arrested because on 1/3 of 2018 at approximately 21:33 hours, I was advised by Elkhart City safety officers, SASBO, and Montes that James Jacobson, 10/25/1972, when this is in the lobby of the Elkhart Police Department. Alright, it goes on to says that he was in the lobby swearing and hitting the protective glass. Safety officers were unarmed jail staff. The glass is a vital piece of equipment that offers them protection while they're in the performance of their duties. Okay, for starters, I'm not going to go through all of this and break it down and talk about all the lies and all the bullshit that's in here, because we would be here for hours discussing this. But that is protective glass. They even say it's protective glass. It is safety glass. It's not just a regular piece of glass. And I believe I could even go as far as to say that it may be bulletproof glass. If that's the case, then with it being a vital piece of equipment to the course of their duties, I don't know how hard you have to hit protective glass or how hard you have to hit bulletproof glass to get it to bust. But I'm willing to say that James Jacobson is not going to be breaking that glass anytime soon. They go on to say that, they felt very concerned by and very offended by the way that he was treating them. Says that the sergeant walked up to the glass and asked James why he had struck the glass. James began to deny that he had struck the glass because he had only tapped on it. While James was speaking to me, I observed his eyes to be glassy red and detected a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage coming through the protective glass. Due to my observation of James' loud, angry, and profane outburst, his apparent desire to argue and disrupt the safety officers that were just attempting to do their jobs, I decided to speak to James. So let me go ahead and address this part of it. For starters, because somebody's eyes are glassy and red, doesn't mean that they're intoxicated. I don't have irises, yet I am accused of being high or intoxicated all the time, especially by law enforcement or people that I do contracts for, whatever, just generalized asshole people that think that their assumptions are the gospel. Um, so it says that he detected a strong odor of alcoholic beverage coming through the protective glass. Protective glass is pretty thick, and the holes are pretty small. Um, he would have to be breathing pretty hard, to detect the scent of alcohol through protective glass. Because I'm willing to bet that protective glass is at least probably half inch, maybe a quarter inch at the minimum thick, to a half inch or more. Okay. Um, let's see here. So he made contact with James outside the front entrance of the police department and attempted to speak to James and ask why he was swearing, hitting the glass, and disrupting the safety officers. James had no valid reason for his actions. James refused to answer my questions directly. Instead, he continued to ask for my name and badge number. I asked James how much alcohol he had drank, and he stated that he had not drank. J- James then asked me if I had been drinking, and I stated that I had not. I informed James I could smell the odor of alcoholic beverages coming from his breath. While speaking to James, I confirmed my earlier observation that James' eyes were glassy and red due to my observations of James and his actions. I advised him to stand up and place his hands behind his back. Lieutenant Rayback, badge 310, was present with me to assist. James stood up, however, instead of following my instructions, he attempted to open a cigarette pack. I was unsure if James was attempting to stall or retrieve a weapon. I maintained control of James' right hand while Lieutenant Rayback maintained control of his left arm. James began to tense his arms and attempted to pull away from Lieutenant Rayback. I was able to detain James in cuffs, double locked, without incident, and escorted him to detention. During booking procedures, I gave James simple instructions. James failed to follow my commands numerous times. James stopped and stared at me as if he was attempting to agate or intimidate me. I had to explain that he needed to follow my instructions when I asked him to. I know from training and experience that people who are intoxicated on alcohol have a hard time maintaining their attention when completing simple tasks as part of booking procedures. A portable breath test was offered to all arrested persons to ensure their level of intoxication is not at a dangerous level. If a person refuses to submit to a breathalyzer test, they are taken to Elkhart General Hospital for medical clearance. James refused multiple offers to provide a sample. James was taken for clearance at Elkhart General Hospital. While completing any report for this case, Sergeant Neese advised me that he responded to a call for service at James' residence at his residence in Elkhart at 16:02 hours the same day. Sergeant Neese stated that James appeared to be intoxicated on alcohol. At that time, Sergeant Neese stated that James had slurred speech and the odor of alcoholic beverages on his breath at that time. So that was Sergeant Mayer's attestation of the events that occurred. Now, from what I have heard, is that James. Okay, so I have heard that James blew, and that his alcohol level was 0.02, I believe. And in Indiana, the level of criminal intoxication is 0.08, but that is only for the driving statute. Okay. Now, for public intoxication, there is no standard of intoxication. Okay, there is no standard of intoxication when it comes to the public intoxication statute under Indiana law. So the second case here that's filed then in Elkhart Superior Court 5, it then has the charge listed. Now, this must have appeared out of thin air yesterday or maybe today, something like that. Well, 1/7, and today is the 7th, so today. So that got placed on there today with the charge of public intox, breach of peace, defendant breaches the peace, or was in intimate. All right. Let's go ahead and look this up. 715 or 7.151-3. Copy. We're going to look this up here. Indiana code. We'll go to this one. And I'll try to blow this up for you guys. Alright. So, for a person to be in public, no, go away. Lawyers are not needed. For a person to be in a public place or a place of public resort in a state of intoxication caused by the person's use of alcohol or a controlled substance as defined in this IC code, if a person endangers the person's life, endangers the life of another person, breaches the peace or is in imminent danger of breaching the peace, or harasses, annoys, or alarms another person. Okay. Let's see. Person may not intimidate or maintain an action against a law enforcement officer based on the officer's failure to enforce this section. Okay, that doesn't apply. So let's go ahead and go to this code right here. That defines controlled substance. This lawyer thing really needs to go away. Okay, see, intoxication is not defined under this statute. Okay, it is not defined under the statute. However, if we were to look up Indiana operating while intoxicated, Indiana. Alright, there we go. Alright, so operating a vehicle while intoxicated. Now, if we compare this to the other code, alright, it does have a definition of what intoxication means. So we see here that a person who operates a vehicle with an alcohol concentration equivalent to at least 0.08 grams of alcohol but less than 1,500 grams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of the person's blood, or 210 liters of the person's breath, commits a Class C misdemeanor. Alright, and then they also have 0.15 grams of alcohol and so forth. But as we see here, that a level of intoxication is defined under this statute. And that is because without that indication of intoxication, what that level of intoxication is, it's constitutionally vague. And what I also find interesting is that operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated is less of a crime than just public intoxication, because this is a Class C misdemeanor. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and get out of that. Go back in over here. Now, as I said, so Indiana's public intox law is constitutionally vague in and of itself. And if that's not enough at this point, there wasn't enough evidence to determine whether or not he was intoxicated at the time. Simply having probable cause to arrest somebody and having enough evidence to win a case against somebody are two different things. If we go back over here to the probable cause affidavit, we see that he was taken to Elkhart General Hospital. Okay, we see here he was taken to Elkhart General Hospital to get medical clearance. Okay, that doesn't mean that he was taken there for a breathalyzer test, anything like that. They simply take him in, and they, and at that point, they, medical staff checks him out, makes sure that he's okay. Is he any harm to himself or others? Does he have any medical signs that we're gonna end up having a problem? Can he be in jail? Basically, is what they want to know. So after being evaluated, then they took him to jail. But it says that he refused multiple times to provide a sample. So, and that's exactly what you should do in this situation, whether intoxicated or not, because you don't have to incriminate yourself. So, there's no evidence here. You have the word of two different officers that were at the scene, and that's about it. You have a constitutionally vague statute, and then in all that, you have James's video that clearly shows that he tapped on the glass. There was no banging on the glass. He was not loud per se. He was upset, obviously, but he was not loud. He was not disorderly in any fashion. And as you may know, an officer cannot be a victim of disorderly conduct. Therefore, one would assume that an officer cannot be a victim of breach of the peace, because disorderly conduct is a breach of the peace. So, therefore, a safety officer or a police officer would not be able to be a victim. So there's multiple issues in regards to his case here on the prosecution side. I believe that James has a very good case, and that so long as he sticks to his guns and doesn't plea out, that he should be good. Now, when it comes to that whole probation hold, I don't know how things work over in Elkhart County with their probationary system, but I would assume that. Whoa, what do we got going on here? Video background. All right, so let me get rid of that. Okay, so what I would assume here. What is going on? Why is this not working? All right. Is that eventually the probation revocation will be dropped, all of that. So, hey Kim, all right. So I'm looking at the chat now. I haven't been able to look at the chat, okay? But I'm looking at the chat now. Let me go ahead and go back up here and read this chat for a minute and see if there are any questions. If there's anything else that anybody wants me to cover, or questions that you have about statutes in regarding this on this video, let me know. Okay. Let's see. Let me read this real quick. I know. I just wanted to mention that I already updated a video of this report. Nothing new yet. Okay. Correct, yes. See James Jacobson's last video visuals of audio and video. That's very correct. Mystery 13. Um, if you all want me to play his video real quick, just the part where he was arrested at the end, something like that, then I can go ahead and do that, include that in this video. If you do, let me know. I'll go ahead and load it real quick. It is bulletproof glass. Okay, thank you, Brian. Um, let's see. And account for the distance the officer and James are away from the glass. Correct, Indy. That you definitely have to take that into account. So that's why I'm saying he would have to be breathing extremely hard and intentionally blowing directly at the glass and through that glass to even make that determination that there was any alcohol presence. Um, Kimmy people said you admitted on a live stream James took a shot. If so, the police can use that as evidence. That's a very good question, Mystery 13. Since Kim is in here, maybe Kim can address that. Okay, alright. So she did, okay. She's slacking. Talking 2 seconds in about this. Alright, he told them he did to earlier that day. Okay, so earlier that day, that doesn't mean, I mean, you can drink a shot in the morning and 2 hours later, I mean, I guess it all depends on your body, but you shouldn't be affected by it, and you really shouldn't, you really shouldn't smell it at that point. Slurred in his way he talks. Yeah. So, slurred in the way he talks, I was going to address that too. When my blood sugar gets high, or any diabetic's blood sugar gets high, that's slurred speech too. So, and if you look back on a lot of my videos, sometimes when my blood sugar gets high, my speech is slurred, my cognitive ability is slowed a lot of different times. So just because your speech is slurred and your cognitive ability is impacted does not mean that you're intoxicated. Let's see. He can't drive. He has no license. Okay. Traffic violations. So just if you go to, where do you find all this stuff? If you go to mycase.in.gov, you can get the information there. You search for James Jacobson. You can also go to doxpop.com. That is DOXPOP.com. And then you can sign up for a free account and you get like 6 searches a month with each free account. And you can sign up with as many free accounts as you want so long as it's a different email address per account. Alright. So from what I understand, Brian, he was 0.02, not 0.2. Correct. So he could illegally drive. And if he could illegally drive, then how is he intoxicated? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. But on code section. Let's see. You're slow in anyways, Noman. Thank you so much, Indy. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Um, I see. I see a comment there, but just above Indy's. But it it looks like really blurry. I'm not even gonna bother reading it. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What's thanks your news. A specific code section would be helpful. The statute reads another and doesn't expressly exclude cops. Pugface, what did you mean by that? A specific code section would be helpful. The statute reads another and doesn't expressly exclude cops. There you go. And if he is hard of hearing, definitely hard of hearing, people talk louder. They do. Correct. Correct, Brian. They cannot prove that. You know what? I keep seeing these weird, hazy, weird comments that are being posted. Like one above Pugface here. Kim, that lady said her PayPal shows the donation was sent. Oh, okay. But yeah, one above that, man. I don't know. There's this weird hazy comment. I don't even know. I wish those hazy comments would just stop. And then there's another one right below Obama. Jeez. Lots of people are saying that they don't even ever do. The cops can't be a victim. Okay, so cops cannot be a victim. That's case law. I mean, I would have to look that up. But if you look up my video involving Crown Point, the case law is in that video um, in regards to a cop not being able to be a victim of disorderly conduct. So the Senate president set a precedent of being intoxicated all day. Disorderly says harasses another as any person, I think. So it doesn't say cops are excluded. Cops are anothers, are they? Pugface, no. There is case law that states that cop cannot be a victim of disorderly conduct because cops are held to a more professional standard, and they have training, and therefore they cannot and that they cannot so because of that training and because a lot of speech that is directed towards them is considered political speech, therefore cannot be disorderly conduct. Man, I got these hazy snowflakes bouncing all around this live chat. I don't even know what's up with that. Hmm. Uh, Safety officers were the victims then, so then the rest of cops were the resting cops were the victim. Okay, so safety officers. We could possibly say that maybe the safety officers were the victim, but that all depends on if the safety officers are a civilian employee, or if safety officers are ILEA certified officers. If they're ILEA certified officers, then they cannot be a victim. If they are civilian employees of the police department and their job title is a safety officer, then that's a different thing. Okay, so Kim says that they are civilian. So, if being a civilian, um, that's sort of questionable. Then if it was me charged with this stuff, I would argue that that because in the probable cause affidavit they are considered to be jail staff and they work at the police department, um, that they should also then be held to that higher standard. And if what was being said is political speech, then it should be protected. Then it's not disorderly conduct. Um, Simply by going Now if it was somebody in there making a report, anything like that, and that as in that person that was making a report, doing a transaction in there, whatever, if that person says, look, I feel threatened, I feel harassed, I feel this, that, whatever that may fit under the statute, then fine. But there cannot be any type of soliciting the charge or anything like that. So simply because they are um, they work in the police station, and in the probable cause affidavit itself, it directly states that they are an officer of the jail. Then I would say that falls under the same category then as being able to record any public official in the course of their duties. Which you have the right to do. He was not drinking all day, Cindy. Okay. All right. Cool. The rest can be invalidated. Okay. So here's the thing, Kim. Um, while on probation, one of the rules of probation is, you know, okay. So I'll get to that in a minute. One of the rules of probation is you are not allowed to drink. You're not allowed to drink. You're not allowed to drink. I believe that's in all 50 states. Everybody knows you're not allowed to drink. Period. 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 It doesn't matter. One shot, two shot, sip. You're not allowed to have alcohol in the home. No firearms in the home. No marijuana in the home. No drugs in the home. All right, that's the way it is. So by saying that he had two shots at most is saying that you are condemning him in your video. If you made a video that said that he had a shot, you're condemning him, giving the probation department grounds for a probation revocation right there, which is a separate charge then on top of the PI charge he's facing now. Cindy, correct. He was not legally drunk. However, it's a condition of probation and a separate matter for grounds for probation revocation. So then they can completely take the suspended part of his sentence. In Indiana, they can take the whole suspended part of his sentence and make him serve that out automatically then, if he's found guilty on a probation revocation. Okay, so just because the probation officer is cool doesn't mean nothing, okay? I've had POs that were cool too. That doesn't mean that they weren't going to try to hem me up on something. Correct, Just. Probation is not the ones mad at him, and they are not the ones trying to have issues with him. However, they are an extension of those that are. Correct, Indy. If you can't do it in jail, you can't do it on bond, you can't do it on probation, and you can't do it uh, yeah, whatever that's called. At parole. You can't do it on parole. Correct road. It will more than likely be up to the. Well, technically, it's usually up to the PO itself. I've never heard it being up to the PO's boss unless it was a, some type of frivolous matter that may be questionable. Normally, it's just up to the individual PO. If they want to file the revocation, they can do it. And actually, according to Indiana law states that once a matter has been brought to a PO's attention, they are required to file the revocation. It's not an if, and, or but situation. They are required to file the revocation. Now, once they file the revocation and it goes to court, then the probation officer can make a recommendation, and the recommendation could be that the revocation be noted and the person be put back on probation to continue his probation. But if they wanted to be lenient, I just want it on the record. I tried to stop him from leaving the house. Well, Justa, that's good. That's good. That's good. Kim, that lady emailed me a screenshot showing a $10 donation to your PayPal on January 4th. Can you check again? Okay. So, Pugface, Kim, if we can have that discussion sort of off of the live chat, that'd be great. You can use YouTube Messenger for that. You can invite people with an invite link, and that would probably be a good way to go about doing that. Um, wasn't he drinking when he did the fire video? I don't know if he was drinking. That would be a good question to ask Kim, but I would not advise Kim to answer that question. Read what again out loud? Adjust your focus. I agree with you 100%. Quit living in fantasy land. Pay attention to probation requirements. Exactly. Had I known he was drinking, I would have tried harder. Bottom line is, cops try to book people for anything. That is very correct, Indy. They do. They do. Catch up. Welcome to Noman's House of Learning Law. You know what, Indy? I don't know if you're being a smartass or what that is. So, there is a delay in the live feed, especially when you're using a computer. Very true, Mystery. If you're gonna record the police, definitely don't do it dirty. And if you're gonna be on probation and record the police, then then at that point you got two strikes against you. You're recording the police and you're on probation, so definitely don't do it dirty. Definitely mind your P's and Q's. Okay, so Indy, what do you believe that you what do you not agree on then? I mean, because that would be interesting. I mean, I don't know everything. I don't know everything. Okay, I'm just giving my opinion on this matter. So I live in an even smaller town, and if you're going to do this, cops know when you take a shit. They do. They really do when you know when you're going to take a shit. I've lived in a small town and recorded cops, and they definitely know when you take a shit, dude. So, but yeah, I've been there, done that, been on probation and recorded cops, and for the longest time, I had to watch absolutely everything I did. All right, absolutely everything. Just so you know that I need to suit up and get to Elkhart. You know, I don't know if qualified immunity should go to Elkhart on that, or if Noman should go to Elkhart on that. Eastern Kentucky. I know not who you speak of. I know not who you speak of at all. The state can't meet their burden of persuasion. There's more than enough reasonable doubt to be found not guilty. It's by no means a slam dunk for the state. Problem is public defenders push plea. Correct. The public defenders do. Oh, we could take both in the same day. You know what? We probably could. um, Windows need cleaning in Elkhart, Indiana. They do. They do. Um, I have been told that I should go over to the Elkhart Police Department and, um, uh, you know, tap on the glass and with some alcohol dumped on me and not actually in my system. Allow them to arrest me for public intoxication, and then test this whole theory of mine of it not being of the statute being constitutionally vague. There being no standard of intoxication under the statute, because technically they can't use the level of intoxication for an OWI for the PI statute. They are in separate different titles. One's under Title 7, one's under Title 35, and without referring one to the other, as they refer to the definition of controlled substance. You know how they referred to that as in that statute as described in, and then they put the statute number. So if they were to do that with intoxication and refer to the OWI statute, then it is validly defined. But without that being validly defined, I still maintain that it's constitutionally vague, and therefore the whole statute is trash. Pig on pig action is not legal, Noman. Hmm. I, I, I don't even know what to say to that. So they know everything that is said by James Kimmy. Android, anyone chatting. Oh, okay. Indeed. Really get into that pig. We're going to make it happen. Anywhere I can post it, Road. Hope you had a good night, Road. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I have no problem with going over to. Well, thank you, Mister. I appreciate it. I have no problem going over to Elkhart and doing that. I mean, I do have quite a bit of work lined up here the next couple of weeks. I want to do it as soon as possible, but if there's any way that you can post a donation to my Cash App, the link is in the description, and that would definitely help offset some of the work that I have. I could push some of that back, and I can go take care of this. If not, it's not a big deal. Okay, I will try to work it in. Um, but gas isn't free. Technology isn't free, and I do my best to try to get you all the best content possible. I got my backup cams. Speaking of backup cams, I do suggest that everyone that goes out and audits or deals with the police, records the police, have a hidden backup cam. I use a Fitbit look-alike cam that has a clock on it. Okay, it looks like a watch, digital watch. So And they are very cheap. You can get them anywhere between one that looks like a Fitbit without the display for about 23 bucks on Amazon versus one with a clock. Those there are anywhere between $35 on up to 75. Transferred the pool. It's trying to say I never transferred the pool. Hmm. Ah. Oh, okay. Hey, and mystery, I'm still working on that whole thing I told you I would research. Okay, I haven't gotten to it. I've been busy all weekend. Correct. You can do a pin cam. I have noticed though that you sometimes you can get very seasick looking at footage from a pin cam. And then they also have glasses and sunglasses that have cameras in them. Those there are very good. Yes, I got a car key one myself. I actually have a car key one. I have sunglasses. I have glasses. I have a wristwatch. I've got wow, which other ones? I don't know. I got several. So yeah, but I definitely do recommend a some type of hidden cam that won't be noticeable, so that way your complete arrest, if arrested, and the whole situation is at least by bare minimum standards audio recorded. That audio is priceless. Pug learning the law is free. I think they are after your info. That's enough spy cams to work for the CIA. Yeah, it is, right? Yeah, definitely enough spy cams to work for the CIA. Was the watch that you used in the last video? In my video, the video that was taken at the Gary Legal Department, yes, that was my watch cam. Correct. Also, the watch cam was the one that I used to capture the audio inside the federal courthouse in Chicago. So, all right, I'm not gonna sit here and hold you all up. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching the live stream and for supporting both of my channels. Okay. Um, was there any last questions before I go ahead and let you all go? Please subscribe to both of my channels. I also have a couple other channels. If you go to my main channel up in the top right hand corner, you'll see links to my other channels besides this. I have an Urbex channel, and Qualified Immunity is a CIA agent. It has not yet been determined if Qualified Immunity is a CIA agent. However, I believe he has friends that are CIA. Troll account, I'm not worried about it. 13. I just didn't realize you had two channels. Hello, sub now. Alright, yeah, just if you actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a link. I'm gonna put a link in here to my other channel, my main channel for you guys. Alright, there we go. Copy. I gotta scroll down. Scroll down. There we go. Paste. Alright, so there's a link to my main channel. Okay. So. Oh, just you're Tammy. Alright. Thank you, Tammy. Alright, well, thank you all very much. I'm going to drop the live stream right now. Y'all have a great day. Thank you very much.